Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to explore historic Boston in a weekend, how to see everything in Boston in a weekend. Yeah, Boston's a city that I just know for a fact will already look like one of the best cities that I've ever seen. I just feel like it's one of those cities that stands out. And when I found out about the fact about how it's the most expensive city to live in, I feel like I found out that it's more expensive than California, or sorry, Los Angeles, but California in general, or something like that. It's just very expensive, and with that, I guess that means there's a lot to offer here. I know the education here is good, and there's a lot of older infrastructure that maybe adds to the beauty of it, but I can't say I know too much about the city, so we're going to see through this video, through the lens of this person. But yeah, we're going to check this out, hopefully going to enjoy, and let's jump into this reaction.
So my best friend and I just took a trip to Boston, Massachusetts, and we had the best time. Now let me tell you, we did not have a lot of time to spend. We had one weekend. That's right. So we have 3 days that I'm going to show you everything that Boston has to offer. From Paul Revere's house in Little Italy to Fenway.
I love the look of this street.
From Paul.
Look how small, look how thin this, whatever this tavern is. Oh, this is beautiful. This does remind me a lot of, they've got the cobblestone streets, they've got the sort of the tavern style bars and stuff. This area does remind me a lot of what you'd probably see in somewhere like London.
Paul Revere's house in Little Italy to Fenway Park and Harvard Yard. We are going to see it all.
What is that?
Just you wait. Here we go.
Is that the smallest house or something? Or the thinnest house? Oh, we're gonna see.
So when I go on a trip, and especially if it's a trip where we don't have a whole lot of time to waste, I'm going to pack in as many things as possible. So as soon as we landed in Boston, we hit the ground running. First up was the Boston Tea Party Museum and ships. They do a whole reenactment with people in costume.
It's a joke.
And you get to throw the tea overboard, and it's so much fun. You got to do it. Next up,
we got the British
headed
flags
to Beacon Hill. Now, Beacon Hill is one of the...
Oh, wow. Bro, look at this. The cobblestone streets again. This is really cool.
The older areas of town, and it is absolutely stunning. You can see some of the classic brownstones, and our favorite street was Charles Street. It was just gorgeous.
Is this a street? This is not a street, is it? I mean, maybe it is. I mean, this is beautiful.
You can see where Robert Lee Frost lived.
Oh no, I guess it's just where people live.
All sorts of places. There's plaques everywhere that someone historic was there, lived there, worked there. It's just truly incredible to see. One place you really want to check out is Acorn Street. Now here's the thing, you cannot go down the street. It's private property. But Acorn Street is actually a real cobble street from the actual American Revolution era. It's crazy to think that, you know, horse-drawn carriages were pulled along such a bumpy street, and you can imagine what the ride would be.
That is a beautiful street.
Like, we are so spoiled right now. But around the corner, you can head to the Cheers bar. If you grew up or were alive in the 90s like I was, then you are aware of the show Cheers. This is not the actual bar, but this is what the bar was based off of. So the real show was shot in a studio, but this is the bar that they saw and they thought, you know what, this is what we need to make a TV show about. It's really fun to experience it, and Beacon Hill itself is just gorgeous to walk around and see the beautiful streets. Follow the red brick trail.
What?
Now, I am going...
Wait, the Red Brick Trail. I've never heard of this before.
To preface this part of the trip by saying I am not a history buff. I do not remember historical dates and facts.
Oh,
and
what is that?
I'm terrible at it.
Is this like a city hall? No, that's too bougie to be a city hall, isn't it? I mean, this is really cool. I don't know what it is, though.
And all of that, I'm terrible at it. I'm sorry. If that's what you were hoping for in this video, you're not going to get it. But what I can tell you is that the Freedom Trail was something that we really wanted to do while we were in Boston, because it takes you from one end of the city to the other, and it shows you all of the important historical places along the way. The church that Paul Revere rode into to light the first lantern to tell that the British were coming, places of burial for like John Hancock and for Samuel Adams and for Ben.
John Hancock's what's the saying of John Hancock? It's to do with what, I can't remember the saying. I know. Is it like to say a signature? Like write your John Hancock or something like that. Is it to do with a signature? Oh, I could be so wrong.
Franklin's parents, I mean, it's just amazing to be in the same place that our founding fathers walked the streets of so long ago. Now,
you can tell this person's very grateful to be doing this, man. It's always good to see people who genuinely are so appreciative for these kinds of things.
Since neither one of me or my friend were history buffs, there was a lot that we didn't know of what we were looking at and why it was important. And I'm going to be totally transparent in that. So I did find a brochure online that the Freedom
Wait, is this a big gravestone?
Trail, I believe it's .org, puts out that has bullet pointed exactly what you're going to see at that particular location, that stop that you're at, and why it's
like a Greek style building.
Historically important. It was so helpful.
I don't actually know if it is a Greek style building. I just, whenever I see this style of like the structures, I forgot what they're called, by the way. It just reminds me of ancient Greece, of like the really white buildings. But the buildings here are beautiful. Like, they've got the Victorian style lamps lighting up the streets. It is a really beautiful city already. I mean, again, I was expecting this, but it's still, I'm seeing more than I expected, which is always a nice surprise.
Very important. It was so helpful, and it was great to be able to read those, line items instead of having to feel like you needed a full, explanation as to what happened there. At a certain point, it got super surreal for us to realize that the places we were entering were places of huge significance for us as people and for us as Americans. I mean, these buildings have held important conversations and meetings and things that have shaped our country into where we are now and the freedoms that we have now. It was just such a beautiful place to be able to kind of put all of that together.
That is a cool Chipotle. Look at the style of building here. But this area is beautiful as well. I guess this is probably like more in the the central part of the city, the business district or whatever. Downtown is what you call it. This building is really interesting as well. What's this about? Like the green bottom and then this at the top. I'm loving the style of the city, man. I really am.
All of those facts that we've heard about growing up in school into an actual physical building that we could see and go, wow, okay, so that's where that happened. So the Freedom Trail in general is 2.5 miles one direction.
Again, the Victorian style lamps.
So we started at the Boston Commons and then ended at the USS Constitution, the ship. You can stop along the way and do different things, and that's exactly what we did. So
what I find so mad with these kinds of like, you'll see this above lots of like old buildings, like these. I assume this is a really old sign, by the way. I mean, maybe they've redone it or something, but you see this a lot of the time, just like engravings and stuff, like in churches as well, for example. They'll be so well detailed, but it would have been done hundreds of years ago, and with the tools that they would have had, it's just so insane to me that they could do these incredible details and just make them, like, I guess, last as well. Again, I don't know if this specific one is a long-lasting one, but again, in churches and cathedrals and all this stuff, and also just old-style buildings where you'll see these kind of things on the front. It's just mad to me that they could do this stuff so long ago and it's still the same. It's been so well kept and all that sort of stuff. For example, like in Italy, the amount of sort of like just on engraved in like houses and stuff, you just have these sorts of like things. Or in Malta, there was those like I guess like Jesus, like not statues but small engravings and stuff. And it's just crazy to me that they could do it. But anyway, rambling over. I'm liking what I'm seeing though.
Things, and that's exactly what we did. So we would stop and have a bite to eat or try something new or do a little shopping. And it was an entire day experience that we just kind of meandered and had fun. And then we took an Uber back to the hotel at the end of the day.
Sounds about alright, to be fair. Done the trip well.
But one place that we really liked was Quincy Market. Now, it is a little bit touristy, but if you are looking for something to eat or something as a souvenir to take back home, this is the place to get it. They have all different options. It's really pretty. They have an inside.
The US love an indoor market. I don't feel like you really find outdoor markets in the US. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe in certain like neighborhoods within cities you do. But a lot of these videos I do reactions to, it shows like an indoor market, and it just always seems to be like a common thing within US cities. And I like it. It's not like I've got anything against it. I'm just fascinated as to why that's the case. Like in the UK, you'll typically find the markets, like for example, the main market in my city is outside, and it's where you can get the best food and all this sort of stuff. Is there a reason for that, or is it just like maybe just how it is in the US? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are also a lot of outdoor markets too.
Portion.
Oh, those cookies look good. Oh, this looks so good. Look at this. Oh my god, that would be unreal. I've not eaten this morning and it's 10:30. So I would kill for these things that I'm seeing right now.
Faneuil Hall, or behind Faneuil Hall. And then they have the outside portion, which has a whole bunch of different types of restaurants and shops, and it's kind of more like an outdoor mall in that location.
Okay.
I tried the lobster bisque and it was really good. I liked it, although it didn't have enough chunks of lobster for my liking, but that's me.
Fair. Is this during Christmas?
Continuing down the red brick trail,
Oh no, it's
we ended up in what felt like our ancestors' bar district.
Oh, this is the place, bro. This place, I just love how this sort of style is. It's just like, it's so irregular. Like, you don't really find streets like this built now, or you don't find streets like this built now because it's an inconvenience. But I love how well maintained this is, and it's just cool. It's just, you can see it's been kept since I guess they built it in the first place, and they're treating the area with love because I guess these are all like very well maintained because it looks very clean, and it just looks like, I guess maybe it's a trendy area to go, which some people may hate, but I guess that also means they're doing well for themselves, you know. But I just like these sorts of streets where it's just, you're going down one street and then you're just find yourself going another way, and you can get lost and all this sort of stuff. It's just pretty cool.
So the Bell in Hand is famous as the oldest continuously run tavern. It's been around since the late 1700s, and it is just so cool. We didn't get to go inside because they weren't open while we walked by, but I would love to go back and have a pint of beer there, probably Samuel Adams, because that's the thing. But it was awesome. Then we continued on to the North End. So the North End is also known as Little Italy. This was my favorite part of the whole trip. Like, favorite part. Everywhere you look, it smelled like pizza and lasagna, and just, oh my gosh, the smell. I wish I had smell-o-vision right now. It was amazing. The place that we...
Bro, this place looks pricey. It's got gold on the front.
Ended up going for lunch was Polly's. Polly's is famous for having the best lobster roll, and I totally...
Is that Italian? I would argue it's not, but I don't blame you. And also, I assume based off this, she just loves her lobster. She had the lobster beforehand as well, so...
Agree. I put my stamp of approval on that because...
Maybe it is, actually. I mean, Italians are known for seafood, so I don't actually know if it's necessarily not Italian. I'm just assuming it's not.
The hot and buttered lobster roll there was amazing. It was packed with lobster. Now, it's not cheap, okay? The lobster roll and the chips was $25.
Oh, fucking hell. $25. It looks good. It also looks very small. $25. Hey, you got to treat yourself. Bloody hell.
But it was well worth it. Now, after you have a lobster roll, you have to go down the street to Mike's Pastry and get one of their cannolis. They have all different kinds of cannolis, and you can see the plethora of options they have available. I got the simple chocolate chip. Every cannoli is $5 each, and they only take
I've never had a cannoli before, but they look good.
cash, so make sure you have your cash with you.
Oh.
So then we continued on down the Freedom Trail, and we saw Paul Revere's house, which is actually only a couple blocks away from the Old North Church. So the Old North Church is where Paul Revere rode in on his horse and signaled with the lanterns that the British were coming. So you can tour it. I believe it was $12 each to go in, and you can see the different, almost like cubicles that the pews are set up in, where families would have their own specific pew. And then we continued down the Freedom Trail. We saw another cemetery burial ground, and we saw the Skinny House. Now the Skinny House is hilarious.
So this is the skinny house. Does someone still live here? I guess that's a stupid question. Of course they do. It's got to be a bit of an inconvenience to have such. The house is quite tall. I mean, it's not that tall. It's relative. It's 3 floors. So I mean, it's got. When I see a three floor house, I'm assuming it's quite big because I've never lived in a 3 floor house. I've only ever lived in a 2 floor or an apartment, which is 1 floor. But it's very thin. I don't know if we're going to see more of it or if this is all we're going to see, but
To me, you know, it's also called the Spite House because one person wanted to block the light and the wind from their neighbor. It is 10 foot wide at its widest point, and
this skinny house. I don't think she's going in. I want to just see this place. The Skinny House. Is there images? Oh, there is. I mean, hey, you're living in Boston. I feel like it's probably because it's got such a. It's just known for being this house. It's probably got such an expensive price for it. Okay, it's not loading. I mean, it's not loading, but I can see the bedroom is pretty much just one room, 1 floor. You're going upstairs to the next floor. Hey, I mean, you got all you need, to be fair. I mean, it's for some and it's not for others, but it's pretty cool.
at its narrowest, it is 6.
I love this building. I don't know why, but I just love this building. It seems quite, like, gothic. Although I don't know if it is. I don't actually know what the building is like. It's got... No, I was going to say it's got crosses on the top. I don't think these are crosses. I love just the mixture of buildings. You've got so many different colours. This is like a grey one, but you've got a lot of like red brick as well. And then obviously a lot of the new builds and stuff. It's really interesting with all the mix.
6 foot wide. I would love to see the inside of that house because, oh my gosh, look how hilarious that is. After we finished the Freedom Trail, we walked around a little bit more, and then we ended up back in Little Italy for dinner because why not? Like I said, it was my favorite. We had to go. So we ended up at La Famiglia Giorgio's Ristorante. We had heard that they had the best red sauce in Boston. So red sauce is like your marinara kind of thing. And so we thought, okay, we're doing it. Let's go. I got the chicken parm, and I had enough for 2 meals. And that's coming from a Texan. So
Oh, damn.
you know it's a good portion size. Super good. I told you we were going to do it all this trip, and we are doing it all. So next up was the Boston Public Garden. This garden has been around since the 1800s. Now, I can't even fathom the 1800s time frame, but that's how long it's been around, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There's a beautiful lake that goes right through the middle of it, and a bridge. You can take a swan boat around the water and just see it from a water's view, or you can just go on a walking path. There's tons of people out there exercising, and absolutely stunning. I recommend walking through it for sure.
That is pretty cool. It's a big park as well. Is this the entrance to the park? Oh, this is beautiful.
After walking through the gardens, we decided we wanted to explore some more of the neighborhood. So we were walking along the Charles River, and saw a couple famous universities on the other side of the water. Can you guess what they are? That's right. So on the other
What's the famous university in Boston called? Not Stanford. That's somewhere else. Not Yale. Is it Yale? There's one more. Well, there's probably a few more, but there's one more that I can't think of.
side of that water was Harvard
Harvard. Oh, for God's sake. I knew that. I actually did.
University and MIT.
Oh, there's MIT's in Boston as well. So Boston's got two massively well-known universities.
These famous universities, I had no idea were right next to each other, but there they are. So we started off in Harvard Square. It's a great little area with lots of shops and.
So Harvard Square, is this like I guess like a city, not a city built within a city, but is it like a sort of an area built for the actual uni? Like, are they on campus right now, or is this just near the actual university?
Restaurants. And then we took a tour of Harvard. You can sign up for a tour ahead of time or get a guide right there on the spot. But we had an awesome tour guide, and he did a great job of explaining all of the different places and facts about the grounds and the statues that we saw and the buildings as well. Like, only one of the dorms at Harvard has air conditioning.
Wow. That's not really a good thing, though, is it? Why would that be the case?
This Texan needs her AC. So, sorry, Harvard. You know, I know you want me, but I can't be there. Maybe next time. All jokes aside, we had a really good time on this tour. We got to see where Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates's dorm rooms are. We got to see the Lampoon, which is Harvard's tongue-in-cheek magazine is, and hear a funny story about Conan O'Brien and the greatest Harvard prank ever. It's just such a beautiful campus, and I highly recommend that you go see it and hear the history around it. Back in Harvard Square.
Oh, so this is Harvard Square. I guess Harvard's just like an area within Boston, to be honest. So Harvard, the university, is just named after the area.
I saw something on the way in that I needed to stop at, and that was Milk Bar. I have made one of the birthday cakes before, which took 1 million ingredients and a ton of time, and it was so delicious. And I thought, you know what, if I ever see a Milk Bar store, I'm going. And so I did. So I got the Milk Bar pie, and it was everything I had hoped for and more. So we aren't Red Sox fans, but we did feel like we needed to see Fenway just to say that we saw it. If you are a fan, make sure that you take one of the tours that they have available. I hope that you enjoyed this weekend recap.
She was there for like half a second. Fair enough. Nah, I'm joking.
Boston in a weekend. Yes, it can be done.
Boston's cool, man. I mean, look, I knew it's a beautiful city, but it's more than even what I was expecting at the start. It seems like a place that you can just do so much. So beautiful and full of history. I absolutely love this. Yeah, it's a very nice city. I mean, if this was in the UK or if this was in Europe, I feel like this city would get throughout the world, this city would get a load more love, because I feel like people look at US cities in a sort of a snobby way, like, oh, they're all modern and all this sort of stuff. But Boston's got a lot to it. It's got the modern side, but it's got a lot of history to it, and I feel like this would be a city that I would love to go to be honest. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you're from Boston, I guess, yeah, let me know if this represented your city in the best light possible, or you think your city's got a lot more to offer than this. But based off this, I don't think there's even much more you could see, because although it's a major city, so there's going to be loads of things to do, just from the small amount of things that I saw here, I can already tell it's a city to do many things. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction, and until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.